Yeah. Good evening, one and all. Myself, Priyanka, a moderator at Hack the Mountain. HTM Qubits is back with the third workshop on front-end development. Qubits means quantum bits. Just like small quantums of packets of information makes the whole information, in the same way, this series of workshops would make you a tech geek at the end. These workshops are started from 20th September and will last till 9th October. These workshops are being conducted by industrial professionals. What would you get by attending these workshops? Learning and experience sharing by industry professionals, e-certificates to all participants, and also rewards for participants during the workshops. To get a e-certificate, please fill the form that we provide you in the chat box. So, coming to today's session, if you are a developer or want to start your journey, it gets started as a front-end developer. In this session, you are going to learn about front-end development using the JavaScript library. So, for this, we have Joushua Podduko, an expert front-end developer. He is also the founder of the Unpretentious Web. Welcome, sir. Very glad to have you here. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Priyanka, and thank you, Hack the Mountains, for hosting this event. So I would like to share my screen and present. So yeah, this is I'm going to talk about understanding designing and exploring front-end with React. So nowadays, if we see around the world, the market is dependent on the user experience and also the development and the product. So if we see the product, it directly depends on the design and the user experience. So I'm going to talk about some aspects and some of the core features of the React and how it is going to help in future and how it is helping now. So a little bit about me. I'll just tell about me. So I'm Joshua. So I'm a front-end developer, and also I have an organization for beginners. It's called Unpretentious Web. So I lead people over there, and I'm also a core team developer at Tech Phantoms, which is also partnering with Hack the Mountains today. So if we talk about uh, development, so why we have to think about design? So why we have to think about design? It's a great question in all minds. So design is a solution. What I mean is like design is a solution to a problem. So before you go to the approach of the problem, think about the design and how you design a solution for the problem. Don't go directly to the solution. It's not the right way to reach the solution. Okay. So before the implementation process, design itself solves the problem, but we don't notice design that much. So we can see we focus more on the development side as a beginner, most of the people, but it's not the right approach to go through the solution. So I'll tell how it is not a direct solution. So an architect, suppose imagine an architect. So he never starts building I mean, he never allows the builder to start building before the design and analysis completes. So once the design and analysis and dynamics are discussed on paper, he allows the builder or the constructor to start the building. So in the same manner, design plays a great role in the development side as well. So I'm going to discuss few things. So as I told, design is the first step. So design is a solution. It's not like it is a solution indeed, but that it needs something else to proceed. So that comes the development. So I call design as genesis of solution. So it's a beginning, it's a source for the solution rather than a direct solution. Okay, so and also if we see, design pushes the code. Okay, so the development process generally have 70% of coding and 30% of this in architecture and deployment, etc. So it pushes the coding process. So once you're not well versed with the design, you'll not be pushed to code. So that's what I mean. And also, today's agenda, we are going to discuss about basic design strategies and also the thinking process, how we have to think while building a program or while building a website, uh, and also 5 steps for research, and also why UI UX. And we are going to discuss about psychology of design, and we are going into the front end aspects, and especially I'll be discussing React and its features and deep into its working, and I'll be showing few examples how React is helping the market, current market, and also there are few others in the React, like React routing using APIs and fetching through it, and also market analysis and comparison, how React is impacting the internet and whole web. So first we'll go with the design strategy. So the design strategy, first we have to assess the problem. So we have to start with the assessment. And also the next thing is we have to understand the problem. So what is the difference between these? So assessing the problem is exploration process before you get into the problem first. And understanding is about explicitly thinking about the problem. And we have to learn through the problem. So suppose you need anything regarding the problem. So most of the things we don't know by birth, right? So we have to keep learning day by day. As a software developer, we have to refer documentations, we have to attend workshops, and it goes on. So we are in a way of continuous learning. So I feel that no one becomes an expert by taking a React course or maybe attending a workshop, but it is a continuous process which is inside of us. So I feel it is a continuous learning process. And then the execution. So whatever you have assessed, understood, and learned, these three things you have to execute. And these three things matter. Not only the learning process, but also the assessment and the understanding. And you have to check, and whatever you have executed you have to check, you have to make iterations and then assess again, then understand again. So this is a continuous process. So these 5 strategies makes a complete like it's a good way for a software development process or any other website development or app development or anything. So it is very common. So this I took as an inspiration from Top Tal. He's a Jahan Hussain is a designer, and I've taken inspiration from him. And also, we have to keep few things in mind before we start designing. So designing a product involves a lot. So it's not that 2 days work or 3 days work. Some of the people think that we are using Adobe XD and Illustrator or all other tools and we have made 3 pages. That's enough. It's not that. It involves a lot of thinking. Okay, so don't proceed until you know your audience. Okay, so for whom you are making, and who will be the who is the client, and how is the mindset of the client, and who are the user, what kind of users are there, and you have to make a hierarchy of users. Like suppose there's a category of users, some will be males and females, how the psychology of females and males, I'm not separating, okay, but there is some norms for that. And if not male and female, let's take about a child user or another adult user, how it will impact usability of both. So we have to know your audience and we have to analyze. And next is the motive. So motive is nothing but what message you are giving to them. What is the the message you are giving to your users? What is the lesson through this product? And also usage. So if you see usage involves benefits, utility. So what is the benefit for the user, for your audience, and how they're using it, how hassle free it is? It matters a lot. And also productivity or expansion. If you want to expand your product, if you want to expand your website into a successful product, you have to add features and you have to make the UI changes. You have to maintain the industry standards. If you want to talk in reality, you have to maintain industry standards, and user behavior changes with time. So the user takes time to adapt to your product, adapt to your website, and his psychology and his mentality changes as you go through your website. So I'll be discussing few examples of Instagram and Facebook, how it has evolved in the field of design and development. So how it is impactful. So adding features, and how is it a good feature to add? So always we think about features first. So I feel that we should not think about features first. It should be a design first approach, and then the feature we have to think. So many times we think that we will add this feature in the project, and we'll do this, we'll do that. So all the time it is not good to have more number of features, because the user will be confused of what to use and what is happening in this project. So we have to think in that way. And also our identity, how this website, how this product is going to make an identity. So if you are in a hackathon or if you are in a competition, obviously the judges will be thinking of all the aspects. So how it is going to help, what is the motive, what is the message it is giving, so how it is maintaining the identity, what is the future of this project if it really comes in the market. So all these have equal weightage for evaluation, or more or less the same. And I'm going to talk about three pillar principle. So three pillar principle is nothing but, so imagine first there are two pillars itself. So one pillar is you with your problem and estimated approach or assumed approach. So you are with a problem and you have some assumption that you will be solving in this way, or you will be solving of different number of ways. So you'll have that first with your problem. So that is the first pillar. And the second pillar is the development. So how you will develop. So immediately basic mindset of me actually. So people like me, so they generally have the problem first and then directly explore the technologies what they have and how they can solve the problem. So so generally they'll move into the development phase. What are the features we have to add and all. So these are the two pillars we have. But these two pillars stacked on each other will have only little push. You, basically the pillar one, will have only the little push. So if you want more push, you have to add the next pillar, right? So you have to stack one thing on another to have the highest force at the bottom pillar, right? You get me? So the third pillar here is the design, which involves the structured mindset of you. Again, the structured mindset and plan of the pillar one is nothing but a design. It itself pushes the development pillar and as well as your problem. So what I'm trying to explain here is, when design and development move hand in hand, like they move hand in hand, then it is very easy process rather than moving linearly with the development process. And also development again moves hand in hand with your approach, change of approach, and the feedback of the design. And if these three things move hand in hand, then indirectly, directly, design pushes the pillar one. It means when you need motivation for building anything, right? If you want to build anything for your client or for your business or for yourself, for your projects, most of the time we lack motivation. Like we leave the projects in a halfway or something like that. And again, we touch it after some months. Again, we try to get over it. Again, we try to finish it off. That is because of this lack of pillar three, I can say. So you need pillar three at every step. It's not that we'll think about the pillar three later, or maybe we'll add on after the project goes. No, you have to initially start with these three for the development process, right? So this ensures sustainability, right? Your product will last for long when you follow these three pillars on top of each other. And also, it pushes you more. As I said, it motivates you. It pushes you to work more. You have to do it, or you have to achieve the end product. It pushes you, it motivates you from the inside. So, always I told from the beginning that you have to think more as a designer perspective rather than a feature developer's perspective. So you have to focus more on the design and less on the feature. Then it will be a successful product or a successful output at the end. So I believe this three pillar principle, I myself designed this, you can say, one night. So I got this idea to explain something about, summarize about the design we discussed and the five things you should not do. And all the summary I have explained through this three pillar. And now let's dig into the front end, which all are waiting for. So enough of design, you can say. So most of the people will be bored thinking about design, what this guy is speaking now. But you know how the design is important in the development process. So digging into the front end, if you think about the front end, people think it's like front end is like designing. Some people think that front end is designing. No, it's totally different. So it is into the aesthetics of your product or a website. So front end plays a huge role in hand with design, like both handshake each other and work in whole product development process. So first, if we think about is DOM, so document object model. So DOM is nothing but the skeleton of your project. If we think about the web-based project, so generally we have it's loaded as a document into the browser, and browser detects or what is detects the every element or a component in this way. If you can see the skeleton, tried to show you here. So the skeleton itself is the DOM, or it's a basic for every website. So it's not that HTML. Some people think that why to learn HTML and directly switch to React or any other framework. But it's not the right way. You have to understand everything, and you have to dive deep into everything, to the architecture and to understand everything, like how the DOM is working, how we can change the elements in the DOM. So we use JavaScript for that. So HTML is just like skeleton, and for the skeleton to move, you use JavaScript here. So you can see that there's a moving skeleton at the left hand. And also in HTML, we have several attributes. You already know, I guess. You can refer the documentation. I strongly prefer to follow a documentation, a book. There are many books. I'll be sharing the links in the end, or you can directly ping me in any of the social handles. So I strongly tell that you should learn the documentation. Like you have to refer in the development process. Of course, you try to search on Google for the solution, but at the same time, put the documentation in the next tab and also refer the same in the book or any other doc. So the basic DOM, like it does not have any feel or look. So we cannot visualize DOM in a better way until we have styling to it. So basically a skeleton with shoes and cap. So I've tried to show in this way that it is necessary for us to have this styling and everything. So we use different frameworks. So CSS, vanilla CSS, I prefer the most. But if you have any other better in performance as well as your ease, I prefer SAS. It's a very good one, and SCSS. You can prefer any one of both. So you need just little practice. So for practice, I generally prefer front-end mentor. So it is a very good challenging platform for front-end developers over there. So I generally prefer that one. Complete few 2 or 3 challenges, and you'll get the feel of what you're doing. Okay, so you'll never be bored after you do that. And also there are separate design principles. So Material IO is by Google. It's the best one. So it will tell like how much padding you need, and how a button should be placed, and where things should be aligned, and everything like that. There are some principles, simple principle, which will make your product excellent. So I prefer Material IO. And also ah, నువ్వు మాట్లాడుకో ఒక్క నిమిషం. Hello. So let me share my screen again. Sorry for the interruption. I'm really sorry. So where was I? Like before, where was I? Can you tell me? So because I didn't notice where I was stuck, in which slide I was there. Okay, DOM. So I'll go back to DOM. Okay. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. So talking about DOM. Okay. So digging into front end, we can see DOM plays a major role, and DOM is nothing but the skeleton for the website or any other application or anything. So if you, the web page generally loads as a document, and it goes to every element to check where the things are present. It searches every component through the document object model. Okay, and DOM is function. There is no functionality for DOM. Okay, so if you want to add functionality, you have to use JavaScript or any other framework or any other things like that to add functionality so that the skeleton can move. Coming to the styling, so styling plays a major role. Okay, so styling is nothing but adding shoes and adding clothes to the DOM. Okay, adding clothes to the skeleton. If you think of styling CSS, vanilla CSS, and most famous is the Bootstrap. And SAS, you can say, I would prefer SAS in huge projects. You can say it is very easy to arrange the components and apply different styling in an effective manner. So if you are a beginner, I would really suggest you to go with CSS. You have to understand how the things are placed and how the things are styled first, and then you can use any other framework like Bootstrap, you can say. Yeah, Bootstrap is a good framework, and you can refer Material IO or Material Design Bootstrap. So Material IO is not a framework, but it's a design principle by Google. So it is a standard. You can say design standard. So it is used in most of the products available in the market. So, and also there is Tailwind CSS, which is the components of Tailwind are called Tailwind components. So you can directly use them if you want to make a very fast project. You have very little time. So for the hackathons, generally people spend more time in the front end. So of course, design is useful, but you have to understand it as quick as you can and directly apply your things available in the market. Use the Tailwind components and it will be easy for you, time saving for you. And I want to just analyze. Okay, so what I mean, like, what is the study behind this Instagram? So whatever the things we have discussed about the design as well as the front end. Okay, so I'm going to analyze these. So Instagram initially, if you see the 2010 Instagram, it was like this. Okay, so there was nothing more here. Like you can see a simple or shady designs, and it is not like looking good. Okay, so if I was at that time using Instagram, I would really not prefer this. I would prefer Facebook more. And from 2010, how it has evolved into a successful application. Now, most of the youngsters and most of the users are on Instagram. Okay, so why is this happening? So why does this happen? Because Instagram became design centric since then. Okay, so Instagram became like it focused more on design rather than anything else. So 2011, 2012, 2013, it was improving. And 2014 also, it improved a lot. It is like almost like Facebook, I think. And 2015 and 16 is the latest design, and it's almost the same which we are using today with minor changes. So what it has done, it focused on hassle-free features and minified the icons and UI. It focused on the field rather than the features. So now Instagram is very good now. And digging into the front end part, So we have discussed a lot of things about design and also the front-end DOM and JavaScript and a little bit of CSS. I gave some references to explore, okay? And now why we are using the React. So React itself by name is some React act is something and react. So you are giving some reaction for some action. Basically that. So what we did was action before in the DOM. HTML CSS is just the action, but React is doing the reaction thing. Okay. So getting started with the React, I would like to focus more about the features of the React. It has something called virtual DOM. I will discuss about it in 5 minutes. So it eases the process, okay? So whatever the changes happening on the website happens real time. You need not reload, okay? The React engine looks after all these things. Getting started with the React, like I would like to discuss about the components and virtual DOM, routing, context API, and fetching the API and all. So I would not be discussing much because we have limited time. So component, if you see, it's like a cell. Okay, so like you can see here, there's a small illustration for you. So there's a search bar, there is a navigation bar, there's a logo or something, and there are some blocks, content blocks, you can say. So every block is like a component, and it's like a cell in your whole skeleton, the whole body. Okay, so every component can be styled and can be added with functionality, and based on that, we use what kind of component is better. So there are three types of component in React: stateless, functional component, class components, and variable components. But stateless functional components is the best way we prefer. And it's not like previously we saw a DOM tree, okay? So in that we saw about the table, the head part, and there are different components, the different nodes you can say. But it is unlike that, you can declare your own component here. You can add a paragraph, table, or anything into one component and send it to React, and it will look after all these things. Now, first we are talking about the stateless component. So, stateless component is nothing but it returns directly the component itself, nothing much. So you can do this for like maybe it's the best way. I prefer the stateless component, and it's not here. It uses arrow function. It's a short notation where you can directly return. Okay, so and the another thing is class component. So if you have the class the inheritance property of JavaScript is ignored most of the time, but React made it live. So it revived this inheritance property and brought into the React, and it's a very good thing. And you can use this based on what you are using, okay, what you want to make. But I generally prefer that one, the older one. So next thing is the variable component. So variable components is just like your create class function, adding create class function to it. But in variable component, you can use anywhere on the page. You can use and modify this one anywhere in the whole web page. That's it about the components, and I'm jumping into virtual DOM. So as I told, virtual DOM is the unique feature of React. Okay, so it played a huge role in for the success of React. And virtual DOM, what does it do? So initially, DOM does not like if you are making changes in the backend and if the server has to fetch. So DOM for the DOM we have to reload the page. Okay, you have to add the reload function or anything like that. So it looks after the browser is responsible for that. You are adding something on the browser. But in React, it's not like that. So virtual DOM looks after everything, the re-rendering process, and it re-renders immediately without sending to the browser. So there is a stack. First of all, the browser stack with its DOM structure and the APIs involved in it, and also some of the backend also come after that, right? So what does virtual DOM do? The React engine won't send these things to the browser stack inside the browser. So initially it has a memory. So this memory is like a remote memory, you can say, and it calculates the difference between the components. If there is any difference, if there is any change in the component, suppose if we use dark mode, so what we do, we have to toggle that one. So once it toggles, there is some change, okay? Then the React DOM will compare, previously it was white color and now it is black color. So it is in the dark mode. So it renders here. So this is the working of virtual DOM. And context API is used for the state of React, state management of the React. So if you can see, state is nothing but, like, you can say the previously is a white color, now it is yellow color or black color. So the same component will have different features or different behavior. It can be behavior wise or visually. So both come under this state management thing. You are changing the state of a component, okay? So here there is a small example. So it's a counter. So initially start with 0 and you increment it. So you might be, when you are exploring React, this is the basic one, you find it. So initially you go through this project and you understand the working of this state thing. And next is routing. Okay, so in routing, like, what is routing? So we see the navigation part in a navbar in previous HTML, CSS, or basic JavaScript. So when you click on something, you are navigated to somewhere else, or in the same page or in the different page. It depends on how you are doing. So routing in React is a good, like, it's a good package designed by React. What happens here is the routing, the router DOM looks after the whole routing process without reloading again. So it is similar to the virtual DOM into this routing thing. So here, when you go to the home, it directly returns the home component, and when you click on the about, it returns the about component, and dashboard, it returns the dashboard component. This happens before reloading. This example is mostly for single page applications, but mostly will not be using single page in Juice projects, but for the dashboard or anything like that. So mostly the dashboard, you won't reload all the time, right? You have to explore this routing for that. And if we see market comparisons, okay, this is the official Google search market comparisons. You can find it. And React developer, if you see from 2015, React was entering into the market or something like that. First thing, that start with US, okay. In India, it comes later. It impacts late because we realize things late here or something like that. But seeing that trends, React is playing a huge role. It is like it is an increasing graph compared to Angular or Vue, any other frameworks over there. And also, if we see the overall results, and React, people have used it again and again. So the darkest pink color, if you see, it is about the reusability. How many people have used this, and how the clients and developers are preferring. So we have clubbed. There's a website called, I'll be dropping the link in the description, 2018 JavaScript, it is called. So this is the trends, okay? So Vue.js, if you can find it, less demanding and less reusability. And if you see for Angular, it is even more lesser. And other frameworks like Ember.js, Polymer.js, and Preact. These are all the frameworks of React, okay? Preact is nothing but just like React, but React has more usability than all the other frameworks. And also, I want to thank all the this arranging team and the volunteers, whoever are here in this Hack the Mountains. And please drop your queries or anything or any suggestion. You can also check my Medium, LinkedIn, or Twitter. And thank you.
That that was a very informative session, sir. Even I learned a lot. Thanks for the time. And there's a question in the comments.
Yeah.
Why should I use React over Angular?
Uh, okay. So why should you use React over Angular? So it's a good question. As I said, your client demands anything. It depends on the client as your per your use. Of course, you can learn both. It's not a deal, but React has a virtual DOM and good state management, and it is an open source by Facebook. So it is owned by Facebook. So it is getting updated, and bugs are solved easily because of huge crowd and huge developer base. So you should use React, I guess, for the future concern.
Yeah,
Anything
thank
else?
you, sir.
Like,
Shravan Reddy, I hope your doubt is clear. And I would like to thank all the participants for being here. And I would like you to fill the form. Yeah.